I'm Marella. You'll need two colors of thread. So I've chose red and some kind of brown. You can actually use any thread, any kind of thread for this. I'm using crochet thread. Most people use embroidery thread, but any thread that's thin enough to make a friendship bracelet will do. You will also need some scissors and some buttons. I've got, for each thread is 60 inches long, or that's just 5 rulers long. But since we need a total of 8 threads, we won't cut it, but we will just fold these long pieces of thread in half. So in the end, so at this end, we will have a loop, and at this end is just normal thready ends. Alright. So with the loop-like end, you will just want to knot it normally. Alright, so I believe this loop is okay, it's enough, so that the button will be able to connect with it later on. So what you have to do next is just tape it on a flat surface. Like so. And there you have your setup. And remember, we want 4 threads in each half, so that's a total of 8 threads. Alright, so now we have our two halves. This half and this half. This first half and this second half. You have to make sure that the colors are alternate. So first is red, and then the light brown, and then the red, and then the light brown. And then here, you start from this side, so it's red again, then light brown, red, light brown. So in the middle, the colors should be the same. Since I want my hearts to be red and the background to be brown, I will start with a normal row, a normal chevron row, and then after one normal chevron row is another chevron, normal chevron row, and after those 2 rows there will be 2 backwards rows. And to show you, I will show you a backwards row once we get there. Alright, so my red is at the end, so I grab this red, and then I will want to knot it on this brown, and then on this red, and then on this brown. So first, grab the first thread after the thread that you will knot with. First, you will want to make a normal 4 shape with the red and the brown. So just put it over the brown, and then grab the red from under the brown, grab it, and it will knot. 1 knot, and then you have to make another knot to have that special knot that will be vertical, and you will see it later on as we go. So you've done 2 knots on this brown, so next you have to do it on this red with the thread that you used to knot the brown. So make another 4 shape, get the red from under the other red, and pull. 4 shape, grab it from under. So there, you have your special knot, which is made up of 2 knots. Next is the last brown. So now you've used all your 4 threads from this side. It's time to go to this other side. So with the red on this side, make a backwards 4, a 4 that's facing the other way, like this, and just grab the red thread from under the brown and pull. and do that again. Grab from under, make a 4, make a 4, grab from under, and pull. Make sure that you always knot twice before moving to the next thread. So our next thread would be the red one. And now we're on to the last thread of this half. 1, 2. So once you're done with both halves, you'll have to connect the two halves so that there won't be any spacing on the bracelet when you're finished. So the two halves will be connected by these two same colored threads. So you can use either thread, but I prefer using the thread I've just used. So it's this one. And just make, since I'm coming from this side, I'll make a backwards 4. 1 and 2. And then switch their places. So there you have your first normal row. After that first normal row, you'll have to make a second normal row. And since you've just finished using red thread, use the brown thread that was right next to it at the beginning. So that means the brown thread will be the first at the outside end. So it's this brown thread. So make a 4, normal 4, and pull 4 under and pull. And do the same on the other side. Brown thread. Backwards 4 this time though. So it's this 4 like this. Grab the brown thread from under the red. Pull. And 2. And don't forget to connect both halves by doing the same thing. And don't forget that this thread, since this thread was in this side and this thread is in this side, and since now you are in the middle, you'll have to change their places like so. So now you've finished your 2 normal rows. And now it's time for the half backwards row. So for this, instead of grabbing the first thread from the outside, you have to grab the second thread from the outside, and you will use this to knot on the first thread. So the brown will knot on the red thread. Since you're on the left side and this is the backwards row, we won't do a normal 4 on this thread, but we will do a backwards knot, backwards 4 like this. So you will knot once and twice. So that's 1 knot on this red thread. And the brown, that was the second thread in this half, you just used to knot this red thread, but you will just leave it alone. So you just put it aside like that. You won't use it anymore for this half. Then you will use the red thread that was really first from the outside and use it to knot the remaining 2 threads. We just do a normal 4, unlike what we did with the brown. Do a normal 4 knot, forward knot, and then we're done with this red, so we put it aside. Then we get this last thread, the brown one, and do a normal 4 like this. And that's the backwards row. Alright, so we do that also with this with this half. So again, as you can see, it's the red first, and then the brown, and then the red, and then the brown. But since we are doing a backwards row, we grab the second from the outside, so that it's the brown, and we will use this brown to knot on the red, which is the first thread, which in normal rows we use to knot all. But since it's a backwards row, we use this brown, which was the second thread, to knot on the first thread, which is the red. So since we're on this side, and this is usually the backward side when it's normal, and since we're going backwards, we do a normal 4. So it's a forward knot. So 1, 1, and 2. Alright, so this brown, that was your second thread, we just leave it aside since we already used it, and we just go back to this red thread, which is really the first outside, and we use it to knot the remaining 2 threads. So, but since we're done going backwards, we go normal again. So backwards 4. And again, we have to connect the 2 halves. Go normal backwards. Knot. And then switch their places. So we're done with our first backwards row. So now we do our second backwards row. We just do what we did. Okay, so now, as you can see, the second thread is the red. So we take this and use it to knot the first thread. And make sure that it is a backwards for our backwards knot, since we are going backwards for this string, for this part. Okay, we're done using this red. Put it aside first. Then we go back to using this thread, since it's the first, and we use it to knot on this. But then this, we go back to doing a normal forward knot. So on this side, we do the same thing. Instead of grabbing the first one, since this is a backwards row, we grab the second thread, which is red, and we use it to knot on the first thread. So since we are going backwards on this half, we go with a normal forward knot. Put the red aside, which was our second thread, but we put it aside since we used it already. Then we grab the real first thread, which is the brown, and knot it normally as you would in a regular chevron row. So we grab this first thread and go with a backwards 4 to knot this half. Do it on the last thread. And then we have to connect the 2 halves. Don't forget to switch the threads. And as you can see, we almost have a heart. I'll just finish this one heart to show you. Since we already have our curves on the heart like this, we know that we just want a V shape to complete the heart. So that means we are done with the 2 backwards rows. So that means the next row I'll make is a normal chevron row. Forward knot for all these threads, which is this half, and backward knots for all these threads, which is on this half, and then switch threads like so. And if you can see, the heart has formed, and then after this bottom of the heart, since you only did one normal, you do the second normal, and then the backwards, and then the backwards, and then normal, backwards. Alright, so once you have done all the steps, you'll have a bracelet of hearts. And if you think it's long enough for yourself, that you can tie this end to a button and just round it up with here, then you can end it. But for this, I'll just do one more row and then switch their places. Alright, so once you're happy with the length of your bracelet, you can now knot the end. Like so. Alright, once you have knotted the end, grab any button of your choice. I'm just using a normal button, a normal white button, normal clear white button like this. And just grab any of the threads on this long tail. Grab any single thread. So I'll grab the longest one, this red one, and insert it into the buttonhole. Insert it through and through to make the button secure. Once you're happy with the way the button is knotted, I'll do a double knot just in case. As you can see, I am knotting mine around the excess tail of the bracelet. You don't need to do this, but I just don't prefer to. So once you're happy with the knots that you've made, that you think it's secure and tight enough, grab your scissors and cut that tail together with the thread that you used to knot with. This is what I used, and cut it to hide it behind the button. But since my button's short, quite short, I might leave a little tail for design. But if you have a bigger button, or if you don't want the tail to be seen as much, you can cut it right here so it's hidden behind the button. And I'm done with my bracelet. You'll need your loom band device like this, and the hook, or if not, you can just grab two pencils. You can grab two pencils and an eraser and make your own loom band device. So you stick the eraser in between the two pencils and use tape to secure that, like so. And now you have your own loom band device. So for this, I'm gonna do the Fishtail loom band, and since it's Valentine's month, I'm using white and red loom bands. I will use this device that I just made, that you can just make at home, so it's easier to see, and so you know how to do it with a handmade device. Alright, so let's start. Alright, so to start, I will use a white loom band first. So you grab your loom band, put it on the pencils, and make a figure 8. Like this. Next, we'll want to grab a red band, put it on top, like so. We're now gonna put another white, like so. So once you have 3 bands on the pencils, grab the one at the end, put it over, and just on the other end as well, put it over. So it will look like this. And then just keep doing that and using that pattern. So after white, we put red. And since you have 3 again, grab the one under and put it over. Grab the one under, put it over. Push it down a bit so that there's space on top. So after red, we put the white. So grab the one under since it's 3 now, and over, under, over. Keep doing that. Red. Now it's 3, under, over, under, over. See, now you can actually see a little of the effect from that pattern. And just keep doing that. Alright, so I'm in my last few bands. Another white. Grab the bottommost, go over the top. Bottommost, go over the top. Push down to add more bands. Grab bottommost, go over the top, bottommost, go over the top. Alright, since this end of my bracelet is white, I would want this end of my bracelet to be red. But you can do anything you want, of course, it's your bracelet. So for mine's gonna be white and it's gonna be red. So all you have to do is grab the 2 remaining bands on the pencils. Grab it tight, pull it out, grab it tight, make sure it's still intact. Grab an S clip or a C clip, whatever you have, and just pull the last 2 bands out carefully so as not to unravel the last loop. Grab the last loop, place the S clip and connect it to the other end of your bracelet. And there you have it, your fishtail bracelet for Valentine's Day, red and white themed. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Happy Valentine's Day. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and see you for more videos.